So what I'd like to do today is outline the principles of the thesis statement for you and kind of show you how thesis statements work in general in your papers. Okay. So when we look at the thesis statement, sorry, this, I don't know what's going on. This technology is new to me. I've really only used this once, so I'm trying to go through this totally off the cuff. So anyway, thesis statement, what is it? Well, the thesis statement comes from the Greek word tipnai, which means to place or to put something out, out there in the world, just as you'd place a cup on a table, right? So too, we're placing our ideas out there in the world. The moment that a thesis statement is out there in the world, just like a cup, we can all look at it and interpret it. And this is one of the major distinctions that I want everybody to understand when it comes to a thesis statement. Okay, so if we put a cup out here, right? Here's our cup. Put a cup out there. This cup is amazing. Okay. This cup is amazing. Now, this is an interpretation because is amazing is debatable. That's something that somebody else can come along and look at it and say, you know what, that cup's ridiculous. Okay. So this is what I want you to see. This is the difference between observation and interpretation. An observation would be something like this cup, let's just say on the bottom it says made in China. Okay. If we said, oh, this cup was made in China, this is an observation. Okay. This is an observation. This is an interpretation. Observations will almost never work in a thesis statement because a thesis statement intends to interpret. Okay. Now, let's look at the constituent parts of how this is working. So if I said, this cup is awesome. Here's a new sort of generic thesis statement. Here are the main parts of the thesis statement. Okay. This cup, this is what we would call our data. Okay, the data can be, now here, trust me, I understand the difference with data is plural, datum, in the Latin is singular. I just use the word data, okay, to cover all of it. Okay, this cup, that's our data. It's the thing we can all look at. We can all look at this cup. Somebody else can walk in off the street, right, can come down and say, oh, okay, well, this cup, is not so amazing. This cup is not awesome. Then we have a debate. This is what I mean. Thesis statements present sentences and ideas that are debatable. This cup was made in China. We can't debate that. Okay, so we're not going to have a thesis statement based on that. So, is awesome. This is what we would call our claim. Okay, the claim in a thesis statement is anything that interprets the data or modifies the data. Okay, so this is what I mean. These two, this is what we would call the main part of your thesis. Okay, the main part of your thesis is the thing you're looking at and your interpretation of it. Now, let's say, for example, that this is your thesis statement, and you are dead set, you are really convinced this cup is awesome. Okay, you show it to your friend, and your friend says, you know what, I don't believe you. Why do you think this? Why? Who on earth would think that that cup is awesome? Well, what you are now going to have to do is generate a set of what we call topics. Okay. Now, topics come in two basic flavors. Okay. There's the warrant topics. Okay. And then there are backing topics. Okay. So I'm just going to use the Greek letters alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay. Now, in this sense, okay, the topics are what support the data and the claim. That's why I kind of try to draw them. I'll draw them out again so it'll be a little bit more clear. Okay. This cup is awesome, and usually a thesis statement has an overt or covert because in it. This cup is awesome because alpha, beta, gamma. Those are the reasons why you think, okay, that this cup is awesome. So this whole structure, the data, claim, the warrant, and the backing, okay, the topics, this is what I am going to constantly draw upon throughout the course. If you can learn this basic little structure, you can outline any idea for any class that you're ever going to take. And you can also analyze other people's topics, other people's thesis statements very, very quickly and very, very easily. This is perhaps, along with what I'll show you with paper structure, the most important part of the class in general. So we have the data, we have the claim, we have the warrant, and we have the backing. The warrant and the backing give us topics. Okay. So let's look at something a little bit more complex. So let's look at this generic, or a little less generic, thesis statement. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look at apples and oranges. I'm not going to do any color here. I don't know how to do that, so let's not make this more complicated than we need. So apples and oranges. Apples would be our data set 1, so data sub 1. Okay, that we can all look at apples. We can all throw them at each other. Okay. Oranges would be our data set 2, or D sub 2. Now, what is our claim? Okay, what is our claim when we look at apples and oranges? Well, a claim, okay, could be that they are different. Now, remember I said that interpretation is different than observation. So if I said, if I'm looking at apples and oranges, okay, I could say that they're different. Different is actually a modification of these two data points. So different, that's my claim. Okay. Now, in what ways are these different? Okay. What ways are apples and oranges different? Well, we could say that they are different in shape, they are different in color, and they are different in taste. Now I'm going to add one more delta here, and I'm going to, just to show you this example, how this works. Okay. So apples and oranges, okay, are different in terms of shape, color, taste, and their designation as fruit. Sorry, this pen has got a mind. It's got a mind of its own. Please stop doing that. Okay, I've gone on to a different point on the board, okay, because the pen is evidently mightier than me. Okay, so data point 1, okay, apples. Data point 2, oranges. Our claim, remember, was different, that they are different. And we are looking at these categories, oops, alpha, beta, gamma, delta. What was it? Shape, color, taste, and fruit designation. Here's what I want you to see, and this is the most important aspect of organizing your thesis statements in this way before you start writing. Okay? It allows you very quickly to make sure that your topics fully and completely support, okay, your claim and connect to the data. So here's how this works. If we observe, okay, now here topics generally come from observation. They are different from the claim. Okay, are apples and oranges different in regards to their shape? Okay, so you're thinking of like, how do these connect? Do these connect? Okay, if apples and oranges are different in shape, then it supports this claim. Okay, are apples and oranges in general, okay, I'm sure that there are some genetically modified versions that are the same color, but in general, are apples and oranges different in terms of color? If so, that supports my claim, then I can keep this topic. Okay, are apples and oranges different in terms of taste? Okay, are they in terms of taste, are they different? Yes, absolutely. Here's what I want you to see. This topic, fruit designation, because apples and oranges are both fruit, okay, this topic will not work. Okay, this topic does not work because we can't, it's the wrong point. We're making the wrong point there. Okay, so this is how my thesis is going to look. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, so here's how my thesis is going to look. Apples differ from oranges in shape, taste, and color. Okay? Here's my thesis statement. For as silly as this sounds, okay, I want you to see how this works. Apples, that is my data sub 1 point. Here is the thing, the other data point, okay, data sub 2. Now, differ from, notice here, I can say this sentence in many different ways, okay? This is up to you. It's a stylistic consideration. But this is my claim, okay? This is a comparison and contrast. I'm comparing apples to oranges, and I'm saying they are different. I could have said this sentence in many different ways. Apples and oranges are different from one another in shape, taste, and color. In terms of shape, taste, and color, oranges differ from apples. Apples, compared to oranges, are different in shape, taste, and color. In color, taste, shape. In taste, shape, color. Doesn't matter. You see, the constituent points in the thesis statement itself never ever change. Okay? So, here are my 3 topics. I can observe these. Each one of these comes from observation. The claim, comes from interpretation. Okay? Now, that is something that I can then take and write about, because my thesis statement now has all of the constituent parts that it needs. Okay? It has its data points, has its claim, and then it has its back topics that all connect, okay, to my data points and to my claim. So this is the most basic way that I can explain how a thesis statement works. The next couple of lectures, I'm going to look at more complex thesis statements. I'm going to show you how these can be organized and how they function, okay, for you to map out your own thoughts. And this is, like I said, to reiterate, probably the most important thing that I can show you guys going forward in any writing class. Okay, so thanks.